Hi and welcome to my channel. Today we're going to be making our very own double-sided keychains using the acrylic rounds that you can find on Amazon. All you'll need is a Cricut of any kind or a die cutting machine of any kind, and I'll be using my maker with Cricut Design Space. Let's go get started. So this is the design we're going to be using for this tutorial. The Peeps photo I got from getcoloringpages.com. I searched up Peeps, and the font that I'm using is DJ Juicy and DJ Flirt. The first thing I'm going to do before I mess around is I'm going to highlight everything and duplicate it. And then I'm going to hide my duplication just in case I do something that I can't reverse. You guys might be watching this for the first time before you're starting out making keychains. So I'm going to start you out with suggesting that you make a background template the size of your keychain so you know how big your design should be. My keychains are 2 inches by 2 inches. So I'm just going to resize this circle to that. And then I'm going to make another circle for the hole at the top of the keychain. I measured that hole and it's 1/8 of an inch. So I'm going to change that size to 0.125. And that hole was about 1/16 of an inch from the top. So I'm going to change the big circle to draw so that I can see the little hash marks behind. And I'm going to use those hash marks to guide where I put my circle for the hole. And I'm going to center it on the line just below the top of that circle. So that's going to put the edge of that circle 1/16 of an inch away from the top. So now I'm going to align this the center horizontally, and I'm going to change the big circle back to cut. That's going to allow me to slice out that hole. So I'm going to highlight both layers and I'm going to select slice. You can only slice if you have 2 layers. If you have more than 2 layers, it's not going to slice for you. So I'm just going to move the big circle away, delete the little other circles, and then I would highly recommend that you duplicate this and then hide it. I won't hide one of them so that you have it for later. Now we're going to disassemble this. So I'm going to hide my keychain template and I'm going to start separating it out to prepare to make it. I'm ungrouping the peeps and I'm going to group together my words so I don't accidentally move them. They need to be in that exact spacing. So these 3 designs, they're going to be on the back side of the keychain. So I'm going to flip them. I'm going to flip them now horizontally because when I send it to the mat, I don't want to mirror because I don't want to mirror my text. So I'm flipping that now. And before we make it, I'm just going to make sure that I attach. So I'm going to highlight the text and I'm going to attach it and then click on Make It. So Design Space assorts the mats by color. So this is all my black stuff, which is why I didn't want to mirror anything because my text was going to get mirrored. So I'm just adjusting the location of it on the mat. I'm selecting vinyl and I'm going to go get my materials ready. I see that the black mat is up for cut first. So I'm using the standard green mat, and I'm actually going to be using the smart vinyl for my joy because I have a lot more smart vinyl than I do regular vinyl. So I'm just going to be putting that in, and part of the reason why I was moving that stuff around on the mat was so that it would fit on my little piece of vinyl. You want to make sure that wherever you put it on the mat is where, like the design on the mat is where you put your vinyl on the mat as well. And you'll see when I switched to the yellow, I made sure that my design was in the top corner so that I'm cutting exactly where my vinyl is. Now we're going to weed the design out. So the first thing I'm going to do is peel off the vinyl. Actually, I have a nice big piece of black right there, so I'm just going to save that for later. And peel off the vinyl. You're going to go slow. Make sure that all the pieces are staying.
to be really careful with the like the little eye dots and stuff.
So I'm going to start weeding the P's and the E's pretty soon. But when you are weeding out little tiny spots, I found it's easy to use the weeding tool and just kind of jiggle it around, and you'll get the little pieces up a little bit easier than if you were just scratching at it. And speaking of scratching, my acrylic keychain has this cover on it, and I was scratching at it, and I actually damaged the keychain up there. You can sort of see it. I wouldn't recommend doing that. So now I'm putting transfer tape on the design, and I wasn't very careful, and I moved the eye, so I just had to readjust it. So I'm using a cover of the transfer tape to burnish, and you just transfer it on. And then you're going to burnish it again. Again, I'm a little worried that I'm going to move the eyes, so I'm just going to go over it. And it stuck pretty well to the acrylic keychain. The transfer tape I'm using over and over until it's not sticky anymore, so it's probably my fault about that. So you just want to be careful when you're lining it up. You can pull it up and readjust it, but you don't want to put too much pressure on it until you know that that's where you want it. And then you want to also burnish the back side. Sometimes that helps as well. So I lost an eye, so I'm putting it back on. I was careful to make sure that the sticky part of the eye was face up when I put it on the transfer tape so that it would stick to the keychain when I pull off the transfer tape. Okay, so I lost the eye, and I went back and I found it on the back side of my vinyl, and also the eye was floating somewhere, and I found that on my pinky. So I pulled it off, I stuck it on there, and now we're going to transfer that too. Burnish the back side, burnish the front side, and we're going to peel it off. Now sometimes with the thin letters it's hard to get those up, so I like to use my weeding tool to help me out a little bit. And I was pushing it from the top, and I was also lifting it from the bottom. You just want to be really, really careful that you don't mess it up. So when you put that down, I'm putting the center down first, just to make sure that with my is visible over the duck, or peep, I guess. And it's done. Now we're going to add the chain. So I've got my little pliers. I'm putting my tassel on first. Then I'm going to put the hook through the keychain. And there it is. Front and back. And that's it. So good luck making your own acrylic keychains. If you've enjoyed or liked or learned something new from this tutorial, please give it a thumbs up. And also please consider subscribing to my channel if you'd like to see more videos like this one. Thanks. See you next time.